So I finished Nier Automata about 2-3 hours ago, and after finishing I was thinking about it a lot. I wish it was for positive reasons. So I will start out saying, yeah, this video is obviously going to spoil the entire game, so if you haven't gotten the E ending, and if you're remotely interested in the game and you haven't played it, please, check it, don't watch this video, because I might ruin part of the a very important part, something I've looked and people have gotten a lot of emotional investment out of, and I really and I might ruin that for some people. And you think, oh, how could that be possible? Maybe don't let curiosity kill the cat. Especially I don't know. It's play the game first, please, if you're remotely interested in it. If you have zero interest in Nier Automata at all. Because it's interesting. The game is really I don't hate the game by any stretch of imagination. It's a really interesting game. It's the disappointment comes from me wishing I could like it much more than I did, and I don't think it's a failure to recognize what's good about it. It's mostly some personal gripes and the issue regarding the ending, which I'll discuss. Don't get spoiled, please. I was actually what might have, I don't know, me being spoiled, even the little amount I was, relatively speaking, that probably hurt a little bit, but I'll get into it. So full on spoilers. I got in the game because a few months ago I was talking with Vinny on stream, and I was mentioning because I wanted to play Little Busters because it's his literal favorite piece of art of all time, and I think he mentioned that I should play Nier Automata because he also really likes it, but he thinks I would. He was like, I would recommend Nier Automata to you, Craftstor, first over Little Busters, and I was like, oh, okay, because it was already on my radar. Because I like robots, humanity. I like that kind of thing. Pluto is one of my favorite manga of all time. I just rewatched Chappie. Weird in the transhumanism thing, but if I kind of close my eyes and ignore that, a solid movie. I enjoy it. That's a theme I tend to enjoy. So yeah, needless to say, Vindy's getting mark of approval, made me more interested in Nier Automata. So I was like, I should, and I did. Once it was on, it went on sale. I bought it in February, or maybe it was late January, but because I checked my achievements and I basically started on February 2nd, and I finished it today. So it's a 30-hour game that took me 4 months and a week to beat. Mostly because I wasn't making time for it, and see, it's the first playthrough I was like, yeah, this is good, and the second playthrough was just the first playthrough again, and that's where some of my issues started. I literally finished Route B maybe a week ago, and C within a few, I did most of Route C today, and then D. D was just one fight in the end because you could just chapter select and go straight to it. So it's after the first route, the next part of the game, which is about as the next third of the game basically took me months to get through because you're replaying the same route as the first game, but with a different character, with 9S, and it's my biggest issue with Nier is that I just don't enjoy the gameplay. I don't like the combat much at all. And maybe it's because I picked shitty weapons. I used a spear and a big-ass fuck-huge sword, and I got kind of stuck with them for most of the game because they were my most upgraded weapons, so I couldn't use anything weaker because what's the point? And then I just never got around to upgrading my weapons because I just wanted to beat the game, so... maybe that's part of why I didn't like it, because I just rushed it, because there's a bunch of side quests I didn't do. There's the whole, the Near Skull guy who you run into him in, the shopping center. And then I guess there's some subquests after that where you do more with him, but I didn't see those because I was just done with the game because it's not the gameplay. I don't find it fun, so I don't want to play more of the game because I don't like the combat. Because the pods almost ruin it, basically, because, so you either do melee and, maybe beat the enemy not even slightly faster if you're 9S, because he has the hacking, which I'll get to in a second, so it's but if you do melee, you, risk yourself way more, so the best way to actually fight is to just run away from the enemy, shoot them with the pod constantly, and use the incredibly generous dodge, and it's not fun at all, but it's not, there's no risk to it, and... Like, using melee, like, suddenly, okay, the skill floor shoots up for not a lot of gain, because I still don't find the combat particularly fun. It's just, like, it's not good. Like, the hacking, I prefer, like, 9S is the best character to play, because I could just use the hacking and do a shitload of damage to enemies with no risk, and I get to play the hacking minigame, which is more fun than the actual combat. Like, it's just a shooter thing, but it's not annoying, and it's like, oh, I failed, oops, I took a little bit of damage. Like, there's virtually no risk to it. Like, you can really see how, obviously, like, imbalanced it is in the because you do the last fight in the game is A2 versus 9S, and you can play both sides to it, and one of these is really easy, even though they put way more into the hacking minigame, it's still really fucking easy, and the other is a giant, really annoying pain in the ass, because 9S hacks you, and it does some cool things, like it'll flip the controls, and it'll, fuck with your interface or the visuals, and that is cool, but like, it's super annoying, and it makes the fight like it's obviously the harder of the two fights by like far, because you're not playing the easy character who doesn't have to do the combat. So whenever when thinking back on the game, like, after kind of trying to get through some of my frustrations with it, and I thought about, like, there were parts of the game that legitimately, like, emotionally got to me. Like, I liked, like, just today, with Pascal, playing as him, and, he taking control of the giant robot and seeing his grief as he loses everything that he'd built, and, getting the choice to kill him or remove his memories. And it's like, that's hard. Like, that was rough. And then, in general, like, the story reveals, like, finding out that, everything is a lie. The Yorha are not only, like, humanity, they're fighting for a humanity that has been extinct for literal millennia, but also, like, the black boxes are made from machine cores, so, like, it's just machines fight. Like, first I was like, oh, okay. Well, I was kind of, like, picking up on it when you go through the forest castle, and A2's like, oh, it's you guys who've been betrayed. And I was like, oh, they're fighting the machines who are super loyal to their king. And 9S is like, how do these machines understand loyalty? And I'm like, oh, maybe you guys are the machines who are being, like, really loyal to something you shouldn't be loyal to. And lo behold, that was the case. But then it's like, oh no, it's not even just like androids and machines. It's just like machines and machines. And those reveals were big, like hacking as 9S towards the end of the route, and like finding, like, once I found the shipping documents that it's like, all that's being sent to the moon in these daily shipments is like water and parts, I'm like, oh fuck, there is no humanity anymore, is there? And then that was real, and it's just like, it's heavy. And then, like, later on during the C route, or the C and D route, C was just the first thing I got. Like, you're as 9S, like, I found out that, yeah, they were the machine cores, and then, like, fucking, they're just, meant to be disposed of, and just, like, it was rough. And, like, the story is good, the setting is good, the conflict and themes are really good. Like, I don't feel as though I don't grasp it, like the whole thing with Bonds is that, there's Devolva and the red-haired girls. And then there's, like, the other versions of them that the specifically, like, well, we only see what appears to be one, the red lady, and, like, they're in pair. There's multiple of them, but they look exactly the same. The implication I took from it being that one of, like, because they talk about how, like, oh, they're demonized because another pair was the one who exterminated humanity, and so, like, it seems like one of them died, and then the other one, in their grief, destroyed humanity, which is, like, a recurring thing. Like, 9S is pissed at A2 because he thinks she killed 2B. Eve, the final boss of the A and B routes, was pissed because Adam died. Pascal, who was all super pacifist, and, oh, we don't want violence, and, oh, protect me, I won't fight because I'm a pacifist, but, so protect me, android, Yorhaz. But then once he loses his town, he's like, I will kill them, it changes him completely. All these characters, because they lost someone they had a bond with in their grief, they lost it, and like it's all there. It's all very clearly there. And, like, I don't know, Vindy suggested, oh, maybe I see you making a video on it, and now I'm like, I'm not making, no way. Well, one, because, like, I don't like it enough, which isn't, like, a major issue normally, or no, well, I tend to like the things I make videos on, but, like, I want to have something interesting to say, and I don't think, like, there's no one misunderstanding this game. Like, maybe I'd have a few points that some other people haven't thought of, but generally it's, like, well liked, and, and the thing that would make me want to make a video is that I do think it's interesting, and I think it does interesting things with the medium of video games, but I would have to replay it to get footage. And I was enough of a chore playing it the first time, like the idea of replaying, like I'm never gonna touch this game again. And so I guess to get to the, like, what kind of killed the game for me almost, like, maybe, like, I mean, really it's the difference between like a 6 out of 10 and a 5 out of 10, but it's a really bitter 5 out of 10, I guess, because, like, so I was playing through the E ending, I was shooting through the credits, and I knew about the deleting the save file thing. And so when I beat it and my save file wasn't deleted, I was like, what the fuck? And I still don't know what happened the first time, because I went through the credit sequence 3 times. The first time I input my message, and I guess I somehow skipped through 4 dialogue boxes building up to the, are you sure you want to delete your game, to, send to help other people. I guess I hit B and skipped all of that somehow and didn't see, because I put in the message and then it sent me to the menu and I saved, and I was like, what the fuck? Because that doesn't make sense. Because it was my understanding that you beat the game and you delete your save. Like, that's, so I was like, I asked Vindy, I'm like, okay, why do I still have my save? And he's like, that's weird. And so I replayed it again. This time I made a mistake because I said, I don't want to put in a message. And it's like, okay, sending you a menu. I'm like, well, what the fuck? Because I already put in a message, so I didn't think I needed to do it again. But so I did it a third time. I put in the message, and now it's like, okay, do you want to delete your save? And it's like, but I'm so bitter and frustrated at this point that like I'm not in the mood. Like, I was getting teary-eyed at part, thinking about it going through the first time. But now then the second time I was pissed. Third time I was pissed. Like, it's not going to work on anymore. Like, it's done. It's gone. A lot of the positive feelings I had to the game are just kind of gone, because, like, the big emotional climax where, like, the repeating failure, and, like, you delete the save file so that if you restart it, you go through again and watch the characters fail, or you just, like, delete it, and, like, because, accepting death, which is literally stated in the last cutscene, like, it works. It's all thematically interesting. But I had to do it 3 times, and in doing it those 3 times, so here's something, I don't know if I've seen this mentioned before, because it's that if you replay the game, go to ending E, and then you hit no, and then you replay ending E again, you'll notice something, or at least I noticed something, and in the names, because, like, basically what is okay to remind you is, like, you die enough times during the credit sequence, and then it's like, do you want, it's suggests that you get help, and you get help from other players who have deleted their save, allegedly, because apparently Juice sacrificed his save file 3 times for me, 3v3 sacrificed his save file 3 times for me, Tetsuo sacrificed his save file twice for me. Like, the names changed in the third one, and the second and first ones, they were identical. Like, the first, like, 6, or like, as many times as I, died or took damage and lost a save. The name, I went through the exact same names twice, and I was like, and that kind of, like they frame it as other people are helping you, and you sacrifice your save file to help other people, but that's just, like, a complete artifice. Like, should that affect the emotional, impact of it? Like, because obviously, like, it's fake, but, lots of things are fake. Wrestling's fake. It's still, like, these are still athletes making a narrative. I don't know, I can't shake that out of, like, the fact that a lot of people legitimately think that other people's save files were sacrificed so that for every point of damage they took, when that's not what was happening at all. And I don't know, it's like it's frustrating that this, like, interesting game is packaged in, like, it needs to be a game to tell its stories. Like, the interactivity is part of the fact that you replay it is, like, again, like, there's the line about the machines, like, they're repeating they're repeating all these failures with it. They're not learning. They're doing the same thing over and over again and failing the exact same way over going. Like, I think that one of the pods is like, oh, failure is like the goal almost. Because they're trying to find an answer for it, which you could tie to video games. Like, I remember what was it, Getting Over It, the one where you're the guy in the pot with the hammer. It's like failure. You're still trying. Why do people play video games and do the same thing over and fail constantly? To maybe eventually succeed, which isn't the case. Like, Dwarf Fortress is a game I played a lot. There is no win condition. You give up or you fail. Like, it's stupid. Why have I put so many hours in the game? Not in a while, but I did. and it's not the only game like it. So it's like, it very much has to be a game, but like if it had like gameplay I really enjoyed, like in a Monster Hunter game or a From Software game, like I would gladly play it again and again. But it doesn't have that. Even Metal Gear Rising, like, because that was the first game I was comparing it to, because it's like a character action game. Metal Gear Rising Vengeance, which I really like the gameplay for that game, because like cutting shit is cool. The gameplay, like the enemies have these patterns that you learn, and you get better at fighting them, and it's just like it's cool in ways that Nier's combat is not, as I talked about earlier. And like, yeah, I'm just like, I don't know, I basically made this video because I was really disappointed, and part of it's my fault, because maybe I should have just played, like, I just don't, I don't know, with games, I looked it up because I was curious, and I have not played a game, like, except for Nier, I have not played a game by myself and beaten it in 2 years. The last game that I did that with was Ghost Trick, which was, I give it like a 7/10. It's a really well made game. It's like everything, like it's that's the biggest thing I got of it, was just how well constructed it was, story wise and gameplay wise. But it's fine. I like it. But like after that, like what are some games that I've played since then? Like Brutal Legend. It was free. I didn't beat it. Or yeah, that's what I meant. Games that I've beaten. And then like even Dark Souls and Sekiro, which are single player games, I still played those. Like I'd go to I have a friend who I go over to. Now we've been playing online, but like once a week we try to meet up in some way online because of coronavirus. But or when we just don't have enough time. But so usually I'll like go to his house and we'll play in the same room, and that's how we got Sekiro, and then we went to his place and we played it like the whole day, and then we did that for the next few weeks until we were like, okay, we're done. Let's play a different game, and we did that with a lot of the Souls games. Mostly we play with Monster Hunter because it's a multiplayer game. But like, even though it's a single player game, we'll still play it in the same room and we'll talk about it. So even those are single player games that I've like beaten 100%, that doesn't feel the same to me as like Nier Automata, which I never played with anyone in the room, or just like, or like right now I'm playing Halo, the Master Chief Collection with Vindy. That's online. That's with a friend. Like, it's not alone. And so Nier is like the first game I've beaten alone in 2 years, basically. So which is, telling me that like if it's not with someone else, Monster Hunter or Dark Souls or From Software rather, like I'm just when am I going to play it? And then like here you have Nier, this game that I was sure I was going to love. Like maybe not a 10 out of 10, maybe 9. I would have been satisfied with like a 7 or like an 8. Like 7, I've been like, I was expecting more. 5, I was like, at the 5 it is now, I was definitely expecting more. Like the last time I can remember being so disappointed was with Danganronpa 3, which I was expecting it like to be like a 7 or 6, and it was a 1. I hated it. So yeah, there was the line in the ending about how like, oh, do you think games are just goofy or stuff like that? And I'm like, no. Like, I like them, and I really wanted to like this one, and the fact that it's eating me up that I didn't, I think, kind of feeds into that, like, no, they're not goofy, or dumb, or whatever the question said. Alright, I got that off my chest, so if I didn't annoy you, or ruin the ending of the game for you, sorry, I suck. I suck so bad that it didn't even let me delete my save. It just went, fuck you. You don't get to experience the game like it's intended to. God damn.